Alright everybody, welcome back to another stream. Hopefully you guys are doing great. Without further ado, let's get started. Let's start with sort of what we decided on yesterday, what ended up playing out, what didn't, and just move from there. So yesterday we talked about the sort of how this consolidation area in this zone here has just been heavily sort of short bias, and without any sort of move upwards, we're not really gonna see any sort of move down. And we did sort of see some dilly-dallying in the sort of the New York session, as you can see here. We sort of pushed up higher. I mean, out of like, ideally we'd want it a bit higher, we'd want to take stops, but we got sort of a steady push. And if we go into Bookmap, we can see that it has slowly been correcting against all the shorts, but relativistically it's not at the satisfactory level. Long ATP. Kick yourself then move on, man. That's the thing. That's all you got to just I missed it, let's just move on. That's what people don't, just don't FOMO into anything. If you missed it, you missed it. I mean, you saw the slam into here, pulled up and it's moving in the correct direction. You're seeing longs just didn't reach the position where we wanted to reach ideally. I mean, we saw these get removed at a certain point. So okay, there's sort of not really too much vested interest. Hopefully someone caught it. Hopefully. Ended up sort of slamming into yesterday's daily imbalance and just said, you know what, that's enough. I barely can move past that point. And collected above that sort of long area here, and you can see the sort of contrast between the immense amount of shorts currently on the screen versus the weak amount of sort of longs that have been sort of developing. So I think we still go with yesterday's sentiment in terms of, sure, this kind of does look like it's in bearish sort of positions. It's sort of trading and pinning to sort of the 50% of sort of the range. I mean, weekly range. I mean, Tuesday came in and they didn't even bother spiking below until Wednesday changeover. So they really just said, you know what, this is the range we're going to play with for the week. And we talked about the other grey box being where retail will decide to go short, and sure enough, as soon as we hit low, there was a collection of an insane flood of shorts that hit into the market and then peeled off. Asia being closed due to some, I think it was New Year's, I don't know, just a holiday. I think they're open now. We can check actually. Yeah, they open in sort of 12 hours. Okay. I mean, they're basically closed like the entire week. So Shanghai being closed the entire week, that would be interesting to see what ends up happening next week with like just 1 week of no trading. Everyone's like, oh, okay, China needs to react to the market. Let's see what China does. So it could be an interesting next week. Already sort of planning that out. But right now, I saw that sort of collection of longs. I mean shorts rather. Corrected gains pinning to here. Could be signs of shorts in sort of normal circumstances. But just looking at sort of this area here, and we know that I don't think these guys have been sort of liquidated as of yet. It's I don't want to get cancelled, man. Come on, man. Please. Let me reiterate. I do support the Republic of China. Okay, they pay me. Damn. No, we're meant to be serious people here. We do not believe Taiwan is a country. It is a state of the Chinese Republican Party. That's a joke, by the way, for those who don't understand. I think market open, but a lot of people on holiday. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, then that it will be quiet. That's the thing. And also, Asians are probably quiet the whole until Monday next week. Yeah, Jesus. So that's like age out of the like a point here. So like you're not really seeing any effect from their markets, anything that's catch on from Asia. So it's gonna be very weird, sort of, or very like very crazy Monday open for next week if there was a large sort of disconnect between the two markets as one plays catch up. But yeah, right now, I mean, we have been seeing very short bias. This is what happens without Asia in the market. I mean, not much manipulation. Looks like again just below here we've got all of these shorts in profit. They're very happy at these points. So let's get these guys comfortable, and we need to get these uncomfortable just by being above here. As long as we're above 22,800, 22,750, we're happy. These guys are sad, and that's how the market works. We need to sort of make the majority of people sad, and move sort of at least take stops. And I think these that were entered here would have placed stops here, but these ones are a lot higher in the waveforms of being here. So it's kind of just like weird that they didn't really just go the extra couple of steps to take those stops out. But you can see they're building shorts very aggressively at these sort of points. So it might be something where even if we do end up moving outside the range today, it will just be a brief sort of move, and I mean it will be very controlled to sort of say, okay, after we sort of hit there, we're probably looking to be long at some point in time, because again, coming to here, usually you want to short the sort of rejection on the 50, but again, all things considered, I mean, if we sort of do something like this, then maybe, but realistically we might start sliding down. As long as we hold here, we want to sort of break above here, try to take liquidity that's across the board here. Then as soon as we sort of break outside, we can maybe look to come back in, and that becomes a short scenario, or we just break above and just continue up higher. And that's something that you want to consider when you're trading today, is general sort of longevity of sort of this weird sort of structure that's been presented to us. I mean, yeah, we sort of extended really high, but again, this is sort of cooling off. I think we might get that once more over lift off, but it just depends on how they sort of give it to us. If they sort of want to take the weekly low out, pull back after the weekly low, and just take ranges high, or just shift up into extra, move into there, then grab all the liquidations in a very sort of, because the amount of liquidations they have is it can move the markets really high, because they do have an insane amount on the books. So that it'll be something that I mean, like if you contrast it to like last moves, it's a lot more than what the last moves had. So you can sort of extrapolate that as like, oh, okay, cool, they're just building enough to say maybe go to 2,500. I mean, not 2,500, 25k. I mean, other than that, Bitcoin doesn't look too interesting. Yeah, we've got two drives out retracement. I think third one between 2025, significant before significant down. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling, especially considering I don't think we're gonna go down off of this high here as a lot, because a lot of people, it's too short heavy, and that's the thing why I don't think that this becomes an ultimate down moves. I mean, if you look sort of in terms of the higher time frames, this could be classified as your third high, but I mean, reset technically here. So I mean, this was like what an entire push here. This was an actual consolidation here. One, then this is your second push into consolidation. Then we get the third into consolidation, and that will take out these longer term highs. I mean, we did that in this push here. We did that in this push here, and then the third point will be here. That'll be sort of your climactic sort of point. I mean, if we sort of draw that out, grab a line tool. I think 25 is strong resistance. Yeah, I mean, it'll be a good number just because that's where I think a lot of people would be interested in sort of buying. Sort of divvy that out where we took each one of these sort of points. As you can see, each time taking those points, and the next point would probably come in here, just above like 25k. That's where you get the next offset of longer term liquidations that are from those swing traders. Other than that, there's not really too much in the way of up here other than all the way at 28,800. So it kind of does make sense to try and hit these out. And it does make sense that we are collecting these shorts here. Again, off the back end of this sort of bigger move here, sort of the selling pressure would have been inversely bought, but instead it's being short into, so people are shorting into sort of probably spot buys at this point. And that's something that you want to consider, even if we sort of break outside the range. I mean, worst case we get something like this where it retraces and that sort of becomes more solid in terms of baiting for longs, where they're just trying to complete things, but still leaves this sort of vapid area here where they just really aren't bothering with just yet. So it'll be nice to see, at least, I mean, if we go high, we'll probably chase a larger sort of over move. But again, it's just coming back to the point where the numbers just don't add if you're sort of going down off of this. If you're really trying to make money, unless I'm missing some longer term like master 5D chess move. But got a lot of news coming in today. Decent amount of news, mostly at 10 o'clock. So it looks like we have a lot of oil news coming in at 10. Other than that, not too much in terms of for things. So might want to look at oil. I mean, oil just pinned here, just content at this point. I guess nothing too much to say. Didn't really sort of revisit this after this. I mean, gave a nice little double top, to be real, but just didn't really fill this out, which is that kind of sadness. Is there a trick to know when they play out on the full charts? So for raindrops, if you're using raindrops, you want to start with monthly, weekly, daily, 4-hour, and if you're trading 15 minutes, just use 1 hour. Like so it's just coming under understanding time frames, and you don't take sort of anything longer than over a certain amount of periods, because you want moves to sort of play out in sort of at certain ranges. So like hourly ones and 4-hour ones usually are less sort of resistive, because yeah, Canadia's a made up place. We don't believe in Canada. But you want to use them as like, if they're near like a 1 hour zone, it's better. But like you want to use the most recent one, say for instance, like on the hour, it's just okay, cool. You have this one here, you have this one here. Yeah, sure, that plays out, but it won't play out for a long time. So let's say a couple of months in the future, it won't really be bothered to be played out as much, because it just becomes where the volume probably isn't at already. So it's just something that you want to say, look, here's a 4-hour. This one's only from December. That to me makes perfect sense. 4-hour wise, all the way back to November. It's like usually for a quarter, I think. 4 hours are good. But in terms of getting anything lower, it's just understanding certain expiries. But and it's just when you're coming to a level as well. It's just if you're present, like we'll take this one because it's nicely played out and played out to the downside. And if this didn't play out to the downside, it would probably look a lot different. But the only reason it did play out to the downside is because you got 1 4-hour. This was trap. This was another trap here. They flushed liquidity, then fished. Last one was fish. They fish it as in like it's just basic concepts where they just grab stops, see what they can get, then they moved fast away, and they sort of mellowed out. And you can see instead of coming to this blue point here, they just came to this sort of the clearing where this volume was. It's just understanding where volume is. It makes it easier to say, okay, you're concentrating on this area rather than going blind. It's like, oh wait, I have an area now. And like for instance, look at this one. Yeah, we know there's volume present up here, so they'll obviously try and make a break for it. But we've got an area marked. It's like, okay, we've got to start thinking about something, a boot or something. When you hit this 4 hour, comes in, traps liquidity. This one just traps volume. The last one fishes before the second half goes on. Traps volume at where the previous sort of area. If we go back and look at that, there you go, where we have that large volume of trapped orders here. And that's all you are trying to understand with raindrops. It's like it's like what I do with Bookmaps, but Bookmaps is more, instead of being on like a daily or hourly, I mean not hourly, or like 4 hour or a higher time frame, it's a much shorter time frame, but it's just doing the same thing. It's just presented differently. But that's why I think TrendSpider and Bookmap go really well together, just because you have basically the same, you're basically doing the same thing. We're just trying to identify volume shifts. One's just on a higher time frame and a higher magnitude of order, and one's just on just a sort of really sort of short term. I mean, you can grab this daily one, you can see here that's where the volume is, and this is why, like, that's why they make sense. It's just where volume is. Pull down, first one traps in, this day comes in very high, but just traps liquidity much higher than the previous order, and but comes in next day. This here is important. Next day comes in, so we close here, we open here, we come in first 12 hours, push high, but don't release trap volume, so then these are still trapped. So that's like, okay, they're coming on the first session and they're moving higher, but they're still allowing these to be trapped. Then these probably perceive, because it's UTC time, so this is where US opens. So US opens, they get a lot of probably buy volume, then they just fizzle it out into here, push down. Then same thing here where they're just trapping volume. It's just understanding where volume comes in. And that's pretty much the simple overview. And yeah, you won't really know if they will play out or not. It's just when you come to that level, it's just like, okay, cool. It's just the best thing you can do is create an alert on this line, put the sensitivity to however you want it, and just say, cool, just notify me if anything comes close to my one of these lines. Price is already close to it. If it hits it, if it comes near it, I want to see the reactions based on for that. And if it gives me something like this, that's something I can trade. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's so you can make estimates. It won't be exact like Bookmap, and that's where Bookmap comes in. You get the actual orders. You can discern where, okay, those are buy volumes, those are sell volumes. This just tells you volume. You know there's volume here. Volume looks trapped. Cool. You can, if you're a betting man, you can probably say, okay, these were long traps. Like, no way they're gonna trap shorts here and let them come into profit. In some instances, it may do this where sort of it traps here, then they just continue going higher. Then in that instance, that was probably those were shorts that were entered in that volume, and you wouldn't really be able to tell. I mean, that's again, I can tell by this, or you can tell by, oh yeah, the behaviors or experience. Bookmaps is usually the easier of the two because you have actual data and not reliant on something like past behaviors to sort of discern it. Here, I mean, you can probably sort of say, okay, this comes in, these were longs, these were second half came in, a lot of people went short on that break here, came back into there, so they had to flush these shorts out. Didn't get too much long here, but made sure not to come below these traps here. Then they peeled away afterwards. They cleared that initial shorts, these initial shorts that were in that right direction, that maybe had their stops too high on the hour, and got fished out on this swing here. And same thing can be said by this. It's just, okay, cool, we're coming in, a lot of shorts coming in, pull back in. They're just taking out the longs instead of shorts. It's just the inverse. Now they're building up volume here, so you know, as long as they build up short volume here that are willing to go, that's showing willingness to go down, they'll go down. If it's longs instead. They'll drive these longs out the market, then they pull back up afterwards. It's decently abstract. It's not really abstract. It's a decent way of sort of looking at things where sure you need some sort of foresight. Best time frame. So if you're trading on daily, hourly, I mean, 1 day, 4 hour, 1 hour. Keep it simple. Don't nothing fancy. 15 minutes. If you're trading 15 minutes, the time frames you look at is 1 hour, 4 hours, 1 day, and past that it's a week, a month. No need to do 2 days. No need to do 3 days. No need to do like 3.14, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, whatever like special time frames you think you need. You don't need. 4 hour trading would be difficult. Yeah, you trade 15 minutes, and that's what everyone trades, and the reason why you trade it is because everyone trades it. So you just have to trade everything like retail traders, but just think the opposite. It's like, okay, cool, because you want to be on the chart that everyone uses, because that's then you can start identifying characteristics. Like here, you come in here, okay, cool. We obviously know there's stops here based off of longs, and we know that, oh, okay, cool. As soon as they hit volume, this volume release here was based off of the stop hunt that's here. So it's not really any new additions of longs. It was just longs that were absorbed by the market either by taking the stop hunt. So that was just a stop hunt here. They pushed up, they took the stops on the opposite side. Not too many stops, but they flushed it down straight away, came back down, same thing here, build up on short back on this sort of ledge here, and pulled out. So they're just peeling away. So you can see each time they're collecting volume, they're collecting these orders. So we know that there's some vested interest in terms of trying to push this a bit higher. So yeah, our guides are 15 minutes, and 4 hours, 1 hour. Your daily does everything else, and daily is just good for like finding longer term things, because that's where usually you have larger institutions trade on the daily. Weekly is weekly broken on this? Yeah, it is. If it wasn't broken, I would have shown you, but weekly is broken on this for some reason. CL doesn't. They don't like weekly trade. Did you check Matic? Yeah, sure. Let me see if I have futures marked out. Yeah, I do have futures marked out. Cool. Didn't have to do anything. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so here's the chart. I mean, if I were you, I'd take these levels and put them on my own charts, and some of these are levels that are derived from something else, that being fibs. I can't remember where exactly from it was first. It doesn't show me where first level is. So we're in the daily, as you can see. It's a nice easy spot of liquidity, and it's just about reading. So you see, here's your daily point here. You can see where it respected these two, where it just fished, took liquidity. Whereas what is it taking liquidity from? Oh, these where stops are going to be. You got stops here. You took these on that time. This time you protected the stops, but you collected volume. You pushed up, so not real good for an entry, but this one's better for an entry, where it comes in, collects short volume at this sort of point here, keeps these shorts trapped, then pushes away. And you can see where you have how many days? 1, 2, like 4, about 8 days of above this area, the rest below. But each time you're getting longs, each time, every single time. So you got breakout traders willing and antsy to sort of try buy here, and they're just buying at this previous point here, just above this daily sort of point here. They're just getting collected, and then it drops below. This could have been an easy reversal down, and they could have continued much further down, but they just chose to sort of stop at this point here. So again, these aren't perfect, but they do give you a very good area to look at in terms of trying to identify where you potentially may want to look at things. And ultimately, again, if it chooses to respect it, it respects it, but you got to look at what it does around it. You can see this does what you ideally want it to do for a short. This not really viable for a long, because it comes down, breaks higher, it doesn't want to break above here, then finally takes out stops on the opposite side. So it's not really a long structure, it's more of a short. So if you did enter long initially, that's your get out. I mean, you got 2 days to get out here, so there's no excuses. Comes down, takes the entirety of those stops here, previous volume area where all that volume's concentrated, gets more volume, then rips away, then breaks higher. I mean, this could easily be something where you fish. I mean, didn't really take too many stops, just took these area here, then it just gaps up. So I mean, that's why, look, if you come in next day, or if you go into sort of a lower time frame, let's do that. It sort of breaks this up. You can see it peels away nicely, perfect sort of structure wise in terms of potential shorts. Takes too long, comes back up, just trades on this bounce, and you can see that that's where daily's nice, but this one's a lot closer, it's a lot more reactive, so it pushes on. Also, if this wasn't there, you could have easily done this short all the way down, and if this was different, you could have easily just come down to here, trade down to here, then pulled away. If it was short, it would have capped off here and pulled back down all the way down to here. And instead they left something here, they left a little reference point for you, so you might as well use it. They just took out the liquidity, they trapped volume, then they ripped above. Now onto sort of current sort of sorts. I mean, it's a nice little 50% of this sort of entire move comes in here, so it's a nice little point where we have traps below. So right now we're below it already. I mean, we can trade below this one as well. I mean, you can see where we come in, slams in, gets volume under, now trapping volume on. So maybe we make a break higher. We'll see what we do here. That's ideally where you want to go into sort of discuss if we were making that push higher. It's all dependent on Bitcoin. I mean, I think Bitcoin should try and make a commitment higher if it's not totally sort of deranged. If all other things normal, I mean, sure, we've got some nice longs that you can maybe suss out at these bottoms, but generally the overwhelming majority of this is short already. So more liquidity is based above here than it is here, so you achieve more if you go up higher. That's just from a simple perspective, so it makes sense for price to go a bit higher at these stages than it does lower. So maybe you get your short off here, who knows. In terms of long wise, I mean, probably want to break it down further. Again, it's sort of teetering around this area, so it doesn't look too bad. It capped off here, which is kind of like, okay, they're just protecting this area here. They're not really too happy with going up higher just yet, but if we get enough sort of short volume here, I think could make a break for 0.9879, but that's something that is yet to be seen. If it does, it's now finds itself in sort of heavier sort of resistance, so that's something that you want to look for. In terms of daily wise, I mean, if it goes all the way down here, it could get really sort of explosive. But generally it doesn't look sort of too bad, all things considered. It's been a while since I looked at it, so I kind of want to look at the weekly again. A nice little weekly marker that I missed. There you go, coming in this week. So a nice little resistance for us to sort of trade into. And sort of 50% between those two areas. You can see that where the volume comes in off that longer term sort of point. I'm scalping Gala, but look at BTC moves on Bitcoin. Can you TA Gala? Yeah, sure. As you can see, that's where that volume is residing, so it could be sort of bearish stand. Got the daily sort of area here as well, so if we come up to here, it could be very scary for this in terms of rejecting off of this. If it just comes into here, because most of that is just longs that are being trapped from the looks of things. So definitely be very sort of mindful of this. Yeah, this chart. Yeah, I'm longing target for 1.75. If it breaks, I mean, if it breaks 0.9, then sure. But if it doesn't, then you're probably running into a lot more trouble. Just because it is at like sort of very, it does look very top heavy. So that being considered, if it can break it, can. But for now, those look like a lot of longs that are just being built up. So I think you'd want it to go a bit more lower before you sort of try entering into sort of positions, unless you've entered in lower already. So if you entered in lower, it should be fine. If you're not entered in at a lower price, then I would be careful with it. Gala wise, I mean, it's being respectful so far. I mean, it's showing respect for these areas here. Higher levels, I mean, got a nice little 50% coming in here. I mean, sure, look at that builds up. You can see that volume that's being built up here. Looks pretty long heavy. From the looks of things, we've got a sort of buffer all the way up to 4.9. So I mean, yeah, it's a nice little double top already coming in. I mean, triple if you're being pedantic about it. Nice little 1, 2, and 3. Each time you see that volume increasing. So we see if we come to here, and if we holds here, could be sort of that one final bounce sort of thing, where they sort of try close off this entirety of this area before pulling down. But in its current stage, it can easily find itself go lower. If it doesn't hold here, it'll probably bleed out into sort of this area here, or even lower into sort of your daily sort of area here. That's something that you want to consider for Gala. If it does end up bouncing on today, like Bitcoin gets its bounce, then Gala will probably follow suit and try go up for these higher numbers. But all other things considered, if nothing interferes, it should generally find itself at this sort of stage. If it holds, it holds and it goes higher. If it doesn't, it drops further. And that's something that you want to look for. I actually want to go back into Matic. Yeah, Matic pretty much showing the same thing. 0.75, Jesus. High. That's a pipe dream, is it not? I would argue 1.5 or 1.84. Save yourself the extra little pennies, but yeah, it feels like it would be a pipe dream. I mean, yeah, why not keep it on the radar, see if it sort of ends up being good. But generally, I don't think alts will be in a position to do anything just yet, just because I mean Bitcoin still has to do something first. I mean, it is rejecting off that weekly, it is going down, which is kind of what we wanted for an up day. If today ends up going up, it's sort of nice little sides for it to go down before open. Going down before open sort of signifies sort of that we're trying to prepare for people to try trade short on the day. If we can get that, then we can maybe look good. I mean, coming from ES to the yesterday, leading into today, you can see that, yeah, we took that liquidity out, we played catch up, then it sort of bleeds down, so it's now onto here. I mean, it can find a bounce on here. If it doesn't find a bounce on the level it's found a bounce on, I mean, it'll go down further than find a bounce. But either or, we're still looking for some level of willingness to hold this. I mean, right now it's just printing out something like this, nice little M. that when that M completes itself, it should print out a nice little W for us to go up a bit higher. I mean, all things considered, I don't think we're too overtly bearish, which is a surprise for most of you, as we've been very bearish the last couple of weeks. I mean, sure, if the chart's bullish, it's bullish. Looking at Ethereum, because Ethereum is more closely linked to alts than Bitcoin is. You can see it hit its sort of monthly sort of level here, and after that, just sort of fell through. See if we can get another reach at it. If not, it's a very far way down for that daily sort of support that we see. I mean, we do have that 4-hour area here, but I mean, it sort of looks weaker comparatively. So I mean, we can sort of catch ourselves at this point, reject, see if we hold in here before another push. Again, Bitcoin will need to go up a lot for this to sort of be willing to go up any higher. And that will sort of drag up sort of altcoins. We'll see if we can drag up altcoins. I mean, if altcoins are in a position where they have a position, they have a support structure, and they look something like this, where they have overhead resistance in the forms of this. They also have nice little support at a volume area where Ethereum is at. So the only thing concerning is sort of this volume coming in here. So I may get a double bottom before anything else. So we'll see if that sort of drags alts a bit further down before committing to try take out higher points. And the same thing could be said for sort of Bitcoin if we sort of take out the range low before moving up higher. Nice little clean out. You can probably look at, I think, I kind of want to look at Microsoft today. I don't know why. Because they were in the news recently, and I think I mean, they had that massive sort of layoff. Then the Xbox division is not doing so hot right now. But I mean, right now I think Microsoft is waiting on Activision Blizzard that deal to go through, but Sony's cock blocking that like there's no tomorrow. So kind of just rough waters. It's kind of just like, okay, we're waiting for Microsoft's Activision Blizzard to sort of come through, because I mean, gaming is the gaming division. I mean, how much they spend? They spend an insane amount, like an insane amount. Like, so the layoffs, if you don't know, where they had like 10,000. It should be in the news somewhere here. No. These are just 3 hours ago. Charles Gross. I mean, they have the Xbox event going on for today. 12k. That's 12k. Is that much? Yeah, but most of those were from what's called in Bungie, not Bungie. 343 Studios, people who make Halo and stuff like that. So it's like a lot of these game studios getting hit. I mean, just before like a year after sort of they had the massive sort of announcements that they're trying to buy Activision Blizzard. I mean, kind of just like, and they spent, how much did they spend on Chat GPT? 10 billion, or some insane amount. They lay off people, then the next week it's like, oh, you know what? We're gonna spend money on Chat GPT. Hey, because AI. And mostly they like a lot of reconfiguring, because I think a lot of the divisions. So it's not just gaming, because you had the AR, the Microsoft AR thing that they tried to push the US Army and whatnot. That bid fell through, so they no longer have that. So most of this division got reallocated somewhere else. They also had Microsoft Edge as well. So you had Edge, like the people who do the browser stuff. I know I use Edge. I love Edge. They also dropped stuff like that, but it's mostly from Xbox, the first party studios that fell through. So a lot of sort of loose end cutting. So they're more driven to sort of AI and sort of spending in that market. Maybe they replace P. maybe. Imagine Chat GPT, then fucked. No, it was the other way around. They fired a bunch of people, then invested. they cut their staffs up, then they poured salt on their wounds by saying, you know what, it wasn't really budgetary constraints. We just wanted to fire you. Get out of here. Like, this AI, he is captain now. I mean, they've got their conference at 3 o'clock. It's the Xbox developer concert. What was it? Yeah. No. It's 14 hours ago, actually. Oh, okay, cool. Because I mean, the main thing with Microsoft and the gaming division is their sales have been like really down lately. Like quarter on quarter. There we go. Like it's insane declines. Like except give me cookies. I like cookies. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, like Amazon did the same thing, but with Amazon one, everyone's complaining, oh yeah, you're laying off all these warehouse workers, but mostly it was from like more corporate jobs that were laying off. And I think same thing with Meta. It's just like these Meta put so much into the metaverse, and everyone's like, no, it's AI verse now. AI verse, get it right. It's not, you chose wrongly. Yeah, Microsoft's game sales declined 30% on systems, so, and I think most of that is just from first party. So I think as soon as this sort of deal goes through with Activision Blizzard, I mean, this is another beast. Like Activision Blizzard is just a cesspool of sexual harassment lawsuits. So hopefully they fix that, because they do have a very loyal fan base. I mean, you see World of Warcraft, you see Diablo, you see all that. Do you know what? Traders like us. No, because there's already sort of very heavy manipulated. It's mostly algorithms anyway. Like all the large players are using algorithms, so it shouldn't change too much. It'll change the order flow slightly. It'll make it more predictable, I think, because it'll just be based off of numbers rather than emotions. So who knows? There'll always be like a place for small fishes and for like us. But 70 billion if that deal goes through, I mean, you've got what, Call of Duty under that umbrella. You've got all of that. I mean, Call of Duty revenue's an insane amount. So I think good things for Microsoft, depending. We'll see what brings out in the conference today. Could be something to put your laurels into. I mean, it's at a decent low. I mean, where's the all-time high at? All-time high is all the way at 350. I mean, decent. Yeah, it should be a decent relative gain. How did I miss this? Oh, there we go. I don't know. I just wanted to talk about Microsoft. I don't like them. I mean, they're closing off Windows 10 as well, and I think that's why they were laying off those workers, because they're trying to make that push to Windows 11. They say, look, you see 10? No. 11. And here I was like, oh, they were pushing like a couple of years ago. I was like, oh, there is no more 10. It's just 10, and everything else is an update. But then we get 11. It's like, so that was a lie. But I mean, yeah, I don't think right now it's probably a good time, but we'll see what happens in the event. I mean, looking at that thin bar, volume trapped here, it's a nice little double top, so we'll probably see that try come and find itself back at this area here. If it holds here, you probably want to pick this up. It's probably a decent bet. I mean, Big Tech just took a stomping. I mean, let's look at F. Even they changed the ticker, man. Like, they just took a stomping, man. This is what, like, and people complain like cryptos are pump and dump, but have you seen have you seen tech stocks? Have you seen what crypto was modeled after? Again, really close, and this is where when you create an alert, it's like, even if that like if I have that as buffer, no. Like Meta took like a stomping, and it's just like one of those things where look, it took a stomping, it's finally recovering. I don't think it ever fully recovers. I mean, like let's see, what's on the Meta umbrella? Like they went heavy on that VR stuff. VR is really good. I mean, if you don't have VR, I think that's a major thing. Like VR is very specialist content, and Apple has delayed their one again. If you, it's not even VR, it's AR. Like they had that new sort of launch coming in with. Actually, no. You know what? Meta's probably looking good. And I say that because they do have in the pipelines the new Quest, so the new VR headset. They already have sort of patents on that, patents, however you want to say it. Yeah, so they've already sort of had that sort of in the pipeline. So I mean, if you look at the sort of commercial success of the actual Quest 2, uh, like this is a unit sold like eclipsing like there you go about 1.5 million. Like it's insane. Like considering like it's selling more than the Xbox and like and thinking about it, it's like, oh yeah, PS5's PS5. You want to outsell that? That's a separate beast. Switch number one. I mean, that's a 7-year old console. Nintendo's probably someone you want to look into as well. They have launches 2024, so probably want to get in them before then. But with all the price hikes and stuff like that, they've sold a lot of headsets, so it's a very good commercial success for them. So I would think that the new sort of commercial headset like Quest 3 will respond in kind, and it will be something that will boost their sort of value as a company. So it's something to consider with stuff like that. Just bringing you the guys' news. Breath of the Wild 2, yeah, Breath of the Wild 2. That will sell too many units. That was like you say 100 million. That will sell an extra 100 million. Nintendo apparently wanted to I think push another sort of what did I hear at Switch? Sales. I think it was sales forecast. Didn't you try sales forecast? Yeah, they want to sell an extra 20 million. So I think Breath of the Wild will do that. But here's the thing, like, there we go. This is brought to you by some video game. Let's see. That's insane, man. Throughout the years, blah blah blah. Result in the first month, again 5%. Jesus. It will gradually improve in semiconductor. Again, they've already announced that they are making the new Switch. 2024 is sort of planned out. I mean, they want us. They sold 6 million. They want us. They want us still. I think push a lot more out before sort of the end of life. They will just want to get rid of those. Get rid of those. But I mean, hardware wise, it's pushing its limit. So I think they'll be sort of very hard pressed to try and sell any more units. It's kind of one of the things where it's just people who know are just like, ah, cool, we just wait for the new one to come out. Yeah, they'll port everything over. It's a 7-year-old system. Like average like lifespan, like what's the lifespan of PS3? it was 11 years. That's a big boy system. 11 years. Like 7 years is a really long time. Like PS4 had what was similar generation. Uh, when did it? Yeah, they just want to be 10 years. The Wii U. I mean, yeah, they're pushing it. So they're entering the seventh year this year. So it'll be closer to sort of 9 years when they're making that switch over. So it's really long lifespan. Like the Wii, what had 2006 to 2014, so it's not too outlandish. 8 years, yeah. I mean, so Nintendo like probably 8 year cycle. Hopefully, it's not gonna be another scenario where they get like a Wii U scenario out of that Switch where they have like a major flop on their hands. I don't know. Looking forward to it. Again, very far out, but I want to look at that Apple AR. They released a new HomePod, which is nice. And there we go. It's a little like AR VR reality pro. Then they get into the market. So when Apple gets into something, it's just parts of the ecosystems. They rarely get into anything without sort of foresight. They let companies do things before them, before doing it the Apple way after the fact. But I think once this comes out, I mean, yeah, it's delayed. Jesus. You breathe a lot of life into this, and as an effect, Meta will probably get affected. It's like, oh look, this is a really cool experience. Ah, cool, yeah. It's a standalone headset. It's not sort of where you put your shitty phone into it. And I think that's where a lot of people are just like put off by VR. It's like, oh, cool. Oh, is that shit? Is that crappy thing I tried with? I put my phone into these glasses and like, oh yeah, wow. But like, it's a lot better than that. I mean, sure there are some foresights, but it's a very innocent space, and I think it should look good, especially if Apple get into it. And I think as an effect, Meta should be good off of that. So I wouldn't count my bets against Meta just yet, just off of those facts. Especially if they do end up changing leaderships under Mark the Zuckerberg. So that's something that you want to keep an eye on, keep a lookout on. The only thing that you want to throw in the fire is this, like always, like throw this in the fire. This belongs at 0. Like here, it's overvalued even at here. This is where it starts to get properly valued. Like this is proper valuation, and I think we should be seeing that. Elon will slowly sell his shares. Like Elon is the ultimate crypto master, like crypto trader, because he made a token called Tesla. He owns 50% of it. He made everyone buy his monopoly money. Then he sold his monopoly money for real money, and now you're stuck left holding the bag. Like again, like it's genius. Like how do people fall for this con man? Like he peddles you horse manure, and you still buy it. Yeah. On a more serious note, let's quickly wrap up on Bitcoin, and I can head off for today and leave you guys trading. And hopefully, you guys look into those stocks. And I think if you want to invest in stocks. It's a lot safer. I mean, you're like, oh yeah, but what about the gains? There's still a lot of gains to have with technology. It's a lot better. It's a lot tangible. You actually have tangible goods being sold, so it's less vaporware and more okay. This is an actual thing I can get behind. Personally, like I don't ever advise investing in crypto. Trading, why not? Investing, no. That's just how it goes. Again, just don't buy vaporware and you should be good. Again, moving short ahead of time, maybe get a quick spike, but generally should look good for an offset on the upside. Again, we have that sort of heavy short bias. We want to look above here. We want to be above here to sort of say, okay, this is trying to move up into these higher territories. Past that, we're seeing these longs come in early. Could be again falls, takes out stops, pushes higher. Coming off of that, not real. I mean, we've got Canada coming out news at 10 o'clock, but 10 o'clock is where we normally want to look for trades anyway, so we don't really care about Canada. 10:30 is a lot better for us in terms of you got a lot of crude oil stuff moving in. Again, you got that rejection. See if that pulls up. As long as it sort of holds relative, even if we get a nice little range set, stop punt, pulls high. That's where you want to execute. Maybe get a nice little double bottom, pushes higher. Generally more bullish on this outlook. I mean, looking at yesterday, it did probably similar. I mean, it did have a bullish outlook. It comes in, takes out that stops, gives you nice little 3 taps to the high. Traps that sort of volume here, as you can see. Those long traps here, comes down, pulls up. Now we've got that sort of big trades coming in here for these shorts. So we want to see these shorts trades stack up. We already got a bunch here. So we want to ideally pin here, but be above here. That's where we want to be above. That's where the majority of the shorts are being broken at. So that's where we want to look at and say, as long as we're above here, we're sort of in safe territories to be in a long. That's pretty much all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you guys for your questions. I do appreciate them. I do appreciate interacting with you guys. It's a lot better than chatting to myself, because I end up just telling myself to shut up because I have dumb ideas. But nevertheless, hopefully you guys have a lovely day. Trade safe, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.